Hi, Leanne Faraday-Brash. 3 weeks ago I attended what turned out to be probably one of the last conferences to still run in Australia ahead of the COVID-19 event restrictions that came into place shortly thereafter. I was at Professional Speakers Convention, and on that last morning we were together, with phones vibrating incessantly and text messages and emails pouring in. We realised that the world we had left to come to convention was not the world we were going home to. I put the next video together for my speaker buddies about the psychology of change, transition and grief. And they were very generous in their feedback, saying that it resonated with them, helped them anticipate what was coming next, normalising the way they were feeling, and helped galvanise them towards constructive self-care and action planning. And while there is only one reference to convention in the video, it should be applicable to your circumstances. I hope that it resonates with you. Please take care and speak soon. Borrowing from the work of Scott and Jaffe, and teaching this as an organisational psychologist who works a lot in the psychology of change and transition, when we actually eyeballed what was happening in the week or so preceding convention, and getting all of those text messages and emails coming through on that first weekend and on the Monday morning that shocked us out of our complacency, there's still an argument for saying that we were in that normal, natural first step, which was denial. And convention afforded us a protection in a way for staying in that denial. But at some point reality actually bites, and then people start to move through to a very uncomfortable state, and that's the state of resistance. Now, people will have many ways of expressing their resistance, and it will vary from person to person. Some of us will get very sad, some of us will get bitter, some of us resentful. And for those of us who are normally very positive, optimistic, grounded in our faith, any really strong negative feelings can be even more disquieting than just having the feelings themselves, because it shakes our identity and causes us to question who we really are, and are we the altruistic, warm, friendly, giving, generous, confident and optimistic people we always believed that we were. At some point, hopefully, if we start to work through this and we're given some time, we start to become curious about the future. And the exploration phase is like giving us a bucket and a spade and telling us to go play in the sandpit. Our energy starts to return. We're more interested in the future rather than nostalgic or sad about the loss of our past, and we're willing to set short-term goals. From exploration, again with more time and supportive leadership, we actually get to the point where we're committed to a new way of being. But that's the desirable state. The fine print that's often not taught by the change theorists is this. When people are in denial and resistance, they are absolutely hung up about the past. The person in denial is actually negating the fact that something has changed, and they're not thinking about the present and the future. They are anchored to the past. The person in resistance is resentful or bitter or sad that things have actually changed and that they can't continue to live in their past. When people get to exploration and commitment, they have more of an orientation towards the future. As already said, exploration isn't a full-blown commitment to anything. We may not have made any firm decisions. We may not have a crystal clear view of what that future is going to look like, what our business model will look like, which clients we will have, the way we will go about our working day and week in the way that we knew before, but we are still curious about it and open-minded to it. Another thing that is obvious when I look at past and future here is that when people are in denial, they're absolutely negating the present. They are stuck in the external reality as it was. When people are committed, they're altruistic, and their focus is also external. When people are in resistance and even in exploration, their focus is on themselves. They're busy listening to radio station WIIFM, What's in it for me? They are focused on self. And again, if those people are naturally, normally altruistic, giving, in the spirit of service, and they find themselves being very focused on themselves and what's going to be good for them, they can become consumed with comparison and become even more nervous that other people seem to be busy and working and not them. They can call into question their client relationships and wonder whether or not the belief they had that they were as respected for what they did as before should be called into question because other people have phones ringing and they don't. So a lot of the stuff that would really be quite foreign to us in a normal situation comes to the fore, and not only do we feel uncomfortable because of the change itself, but we become disquieted because our own self-identity has been shaken. So there's that focus there. The other thing that is rarely, if ever, taught, and this is the last thing I'd like to leave you with here, is that this here is known as the whirlpool. And it's very easy, even as people start to approach exploration, to pendulum swing backwards every now and then into resistance. So we can start to string a few good days together and think, you know what, I think the worst is over, I'm adjusting to this new normal, and then something will happen or someone will say something that will trigger some insecurity or some anger, and we'll behave in a way that doesn't do us justice, and then we'll go, you know what, I thought things were getting better, I'm right back where I started. That is absolutely not the case. It is simply a feature of this process of grief that there will be times where we will be triggered by things that will take us back to a dark place, even if it's for an hour, even if it's for a day, but it doesn't mean we haven't actually made progress and we can't continue to be optimistic that the worst will soon be over. Convention, as I think about it now, really was a bit of a bubble, and if I had to put us somewhere in this model, I would say we probably were able to happily, lovingly and laughingly sit within some semblance of denial for that period of time. And then when we came home and realised that life really was different and that this wasn't going to be a 1 week proposition, and it wasn't the same as being down for the count for a week with the flu, but that even when we were ready to go, our clients were not, then all of a sudden we hit resistance and hit it hard. Please give yourselves permission to actually accept that we will have our good and bad moments. We're masters at actually being able to find the persona we need to find when we need to find it, but we may struggle to do that in the short term, and that's okay, and that's very normal. I hope something of this has really helped you. Be well, be safe, continue to be calm, connected and caring. I'll speak to you soon.